rough week last week. Oh my God, I can't even get into it. It was just like wow. Um, so um, um, so my finances are about to come to an end as far as having an issue with it. Um, it was bad enough that I had to hire a lawyer and go through all that stuff. But after the lawyer aspect, it did resolve itself pretty quickly. Um, so there are several things that I have to do. Um, sorry, I'm running out of breath here. My bad. So one of the things is to attempt my Security Plus exam, start my CCIE training, get me a new pair of glasses, which is completely irrelevant to you guys. But another thing is to get me a new office chair and switch out my desk. At that point, I should be able to finish up my upgrade to my computer, which will be getting a nice large, ultra wide monitor like I used to have before, um, and probably getting the really long one that'll give me complete unlimited. I say unlimited, but enough surface area to do my stuff, especially if I get multiple monitors. I haven't figured that out yet. But the cool thing after that is to be able to have a flat desk to have my equipment on. First of all, um, the two servers that I have, start getting those upgraded, and be able to put my routers and switches on the actual device. I mean, on the table, so I can actually work with them. But with that being said, one thing that I have to make sure you guys understand, okay, before I was on a curriculum that was basically dictated as far as a blueprint was concerned, as far as what was needed for that particular aspect, okay, which is a which was like a CCNA curriculum, a CCNP curriculum, so on and so on. Okay, and as you see, as I'm gearing up for my Cisco, because I'm telling you right now, okay, this was not easy to find. Okay, and I'm telling you, I was getting really, really upset. In fact, I was going to call Cisco today and open up a case to find out why the hell I can't find any training. Okay, so I did a CCIE security version 6.1, and I just went to actual Cisco's website. Okay, and eventually actually reading everything. And I'm telling you guys, this is not like clear. Okay, it's not like sitting right there on the main page. Okay, I mean, you have to click on the right thing to get to this path. Now, if you go back to the page after clicking on it, it would probably make a lot more sense where it was located. But I'm telling you, man, when Cisco changes things, it's almost like there's no standard, right? And I really don't like that in a company where people just do whatever they want, and there's no checks and balances. I'm not saying that's what Cisco does, okay? But at the same time, even still looking at the CCNA track, I'm against it. It's just like, guys, this change in your methods does not create stronger CCNAs. I'm sorry, but hey, I don't have to worry about it because I've done mine already. So from that aspect, it's just some things. It's just like is no check. There's no balances. There's no standards. Like saying, hey, when you create a page, you all right? This is the information that needs to be on the page. Now, maybe there's so much info out there. However, if you want me to pay $500 for this course, okay, first of all, I'm looking for a course. Okay, it ain't that hard for me to give you my $500. But if I can't find it, okay, I can't find it. I mean, I literally was going to open up a Cisco case, okay, and really heavily complain that, guys, this is not easily accessible, okay, and ask the question, do you even have a course for this? Okay, and still there is the question, okay, all right, this score exam, okay, all right, this is not the CCIE course I'm looking for. Okay, so I still gotta call Cisco and say, hey, okay, now, don't get me wrong. This will give me a starting point. Okay, but it's not the entire course. Does Cisco even have a course? Okay, do I have to go somewhere else? All right, and it's one of those things where I'm just like, I just can't believe this. So I'm still trying to work with Narvik to find out when his next security class is. But then again, it's a 5-day class. Okay, and unless it's recorded, all right, it has no real value for me after those 5 days because I won't have any more material to go back to. Now, again, they could be recorded and those videos could be given to us. Okay, and that part would be great because I can always go back and go back and go back. He can go as fast as he wants if it's recorded, because I can always go back to it and study on my own leisure. Now, this is not the norm. Okay, all right, from what I've experienced. Okay, and if this is what it is with security. I can't even imagine something like collaboration, because I'm gonna tell you, collaboration is not one of those things where all the things are right there for you. You got to go hunting. I mean, for things, and I'm starting to find out that probably security is the same way, and I could be 100% wrong. Okay, I just joined the actual community. This Cisco Learning Network community. So, if I'm just now doing that now, obviously I haven't raised one question to them. So I have a lot to learn as far as going through this path. Okay. And I'm not going to say I didn't have to go through this with routing and switching, because I really did. The more I think about it, it's just the fact that I don't know, maybe it's just me not being realistic, okay, or just me being a baby. I have no idea. Eventually, I will find out though. Now, okay, what we're going through now, okay, is the concept of me going off the path of making sure I cover everything that is in the CCNA or CCNP track curriculum. Okay, so there are going to be things like okay, so like EIGRP. All right, we have router EIGRP number 1. Okay, and then I would say network 0000. Okay, that's for all interfaces. Okay, now we covered the passive interface default command and doing a no passive interface on each individual interfaces that we wanted to enable EIGRP for, right? Now, okay, that's how you do it individually for each interface in that fashion. But that's not the only way. Okay, the other way will be network, the IP address of the interface 0.0.0. Okay, all right, which I've never showed you that. Okay, but then again, okay, I don't have to. Not because I taught you the other method. It's because you should be doing your own research. Because remember when I told you, you should be questioning everything that I tell you. Okay, all right, and I am freestyling this, so there is no Kyle's going to hit every possible scenario and every topic out there. Okay, the concept is to get you familiar and understanding of what EIGRP, OSPF, and BGP does. Okay, all right. Now OSPF, that's good. That's a whole different scenario. And the more I go into OSPF, okay, you might be looking at me saying, God, Kyle, this is ridiculous. All right. Okay, I literally have people. You gotta understand. Okay, I can teach 1,000 people. Okay, all right, in a single class. All right, in a single year. It doesn't really matter. Out of those thousands of people, okay, only 5% of those people are going to really make an effort, okay, to learn the technology and to stick with it. All right, it even shows in my Udemy course, okay, Only 5% actually watch the whole course. Okay, it's just the way it is. Remember when I told you, you're in a group project, 20% of the people are going to do 80% of the work. Because that's just the way it is. Okay? This is the way it's been since I was doing blue collar work as an electrician, when I was working on a golf course, when I was actually laying fences, laying carpet. It doesn't matter, man. Okay? All right? I've been, when I was doing HVAC, the one thing a person should be able to do is a person should be able to go in there and pull all the wires off of a unit. Okay, and I'm talking about off the circuit board and everything. And someone should be able to come back behind that person and put those wires back where they belong. You know why? Because it's a wiring schematic right there on the actual panel. Okay, but they can't, because they've never taken the desire or the time to learn it. Okay, they're just they do bare minimum. All right, so this is expected now. Okay, another thing I didn't tell you with EIGRP was path selection. Okay, all right, and this little thing right here, lowest bandwidth of path. Because remember when I told you, all right, and when we're looking at it from the concept of, okay, let's say 5 routers in a daisy chain. Okay, router 1 through 5 connected with links. Okay, not coming back in a loop, just a straight path. Okay, so to get from router 1 to router 5, okay, loopback address of 5.5.5.5, okay, the only way to manipulate that path, okay, or to change the metric of that route on router 1 is to manipulate the bandwidth of the lowest bandwidth of the path of all those devices. Meaning, if I change the actual bandwidth higher than the other links in the path, okay, my metric isn't going to be able to be manipulated. Okay, and that's kind of a weird thing to deal with, because you actually go on router 1, and let's say you do have a loop and you have multiple paths to 5.5.5.5, but you're not changing the lowest bandwidth of that path. Meaning that you're not, maybe router 3 going to router 4, okay, has the lowest bandwidth of that path. Okay, that's where you got to change it, to change the metric on router 1 to make it choose a different path. Okay, all right, that's just weird, right? But that's the way it works. That's the algorithm. All right, the algorithm. That's why I always use K values to only show, okay, the delay, and only use the delay in the actual algorithm. Okay. See, because I could just change the delay, and there, I could do it on the particular router. Because if each router is its own entity, using the delay only as a K value metric of the actual algorithm, guess what? That's the only change I have to make, and I can make it per router. Where on the lowest path of the lowest bandwidth of the path, it can only be made in one specific spot if there's only one lowest path in that spot, because it says lowest. Okay? All right? So, you can only have one that's the lowest, all right? In theory, okay? All right? But if I have 2 lowest, okay, what am I going to change the bandwidth to? Because if I go up, that's no longer the lowest. If I go down, now it becomes the lowest. Does that make sense? Okay? That's why I say it's kind of only one, right? So, from that aspect, all right, from that aspect, this is something we haven't labbed yet, okay? And matter of fact, I don't even think we're going to be labbing anytime soon. It's just a concept that I want you to understand that every routing protocol, no matter what we go into in any topic, there's always a way to go deeper. That's your job. My job is to make you kind of you know what? I really don't know how to say it, but really be comfortable with the technology, giving you the essence and the concept and the reinsurance and the reminding that you are capable of doing this. Okay, all right. But I told you before, you're not going to be using the algorithm, but here we are using the algorithm to explain what I just explained. Okay, all right. Okay. Now, in production, okay, you're not going to do network 0.0.0.0 because there's a risk to that. Okay, all right. Someone adds a new module with new interfaces, and that interface is sitting on the edge of your network where you don't want to use EIGRP. That engineer does not go through and look at the configuration and realize network 0.0.0.0 has been implemented. Okay, does not think or does not realize EIGRP is on those interfaces. Okay, all right. Now, should he? Of course. Okay, all right. Of course, but we're human beings. We forget things. He's so focused on not messing up the change of the putting in the module. Okay, he's not looking beyond the module. Okay, human nature, human mistakes. It's not what he's supposed to do. Okay, but also you're not supposed to go over 55 miles per hour either. Okay, and look, you're going 90. So, it does not matter what you're supposed to do in a lot of cases. This is the fact that when you are designing, okay, have a sense of risk in your mind, okay, and the risk of someone putting in new modules and having EIGRP enabled, okay, on the edge where it should not be, and someone just enables EIGRP1 by on purpose to try to get your routing table. Now they have access to your network via a routing protocol. Okay, your routing protocol has been breached. All right, something is a simple mistake as adding a module with interfaces on it. Okay, because of the network 0.0.0.0. Okay, now the passive interface does that. Okay, all right, yes, but what if you don't use that? Okay, what if you do not use that? All right, so now you can put passwords on EIGRP. Okay, all right. Actually, do we even have that in here? And why don't we? For some reason, that is really clicking a Cisco EIGRP password command. Oh, that's right, the keychain. Okay, so yeah, EIGRP authentication. Okay, all right. So I was like, why is that not in the OneNote? But yeah, so you can put EIGRP passwords on there, which you should do as well. Okay, to stop that from happening. But what if you don't do that either? Because maybe you're all junior engineers, or maybe it's just something that's just never thought about from an architectural perspective, or it's guys. Sometimes, this person could be in the field for 20 years and has never implemented it because he just doesn't see any need for it. Okay, because in his mind, who's going to actually try to infiltrate EIGRP? And I'm going to tell you right now, all right? Okay, we as engineers, okay? All right, and this goes for real scientists and real engineers as well, okay? Science, thank you, Mr. Dr. Fosworth, science is not either good or evil. It's how someone uses the technology, okay? And you and I, and scientists, and real engineers, okay, not that we're not real engineers, okay, but we're not real engineers from a perspective that we have engineering degrees, unless you do, but you get the idea, okay? Network engineers are network engineers, okay? Engineering is engineering from that perspective. Whoever has PhDs or master's degrees in engineering, hey, let them wear those hats. That's not what we do, okay? Now, from the perspective that we are focusing on getting the job done, we're not focused on infiltrating somebody else's network, okay? So, a hacker, all right, their in-depth knowledge of a protocol is 9 times out of 10 going to be a lot better than ours because we have enough stuff to do, okay? We're not trying to learn that routing protocol to the point where we can manipulate bits, okay, at the low level, or write code, all right, so we can infiltrate someone's network to do bad stuff, okay, or good stuff from our perspective by making money or stealing stuff. That's not our job, okay? So we don't need to take our our level to that level, okay? All right, and not to mention the fact you don't have time to. You really don't. You have a job to do. You got projects. Things are always on your plate. Okay? On the other side of the spectrum, these hackers, they're on a mission. Okay? All right? Your mission isn't so critical, all right, that you need to know that routing protocol in and out so you can do harmful stuff. Okay? Or just infiltrate the network in that sense. All right, you are building, you're engineering, you are designing, you are actually setting security policies. Okay, you are setting domains. Okay, you are doing your career. Okay, and if your career isn't hacking, all right, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna know that protocol way deeper than you have. Now, okay. There are tools to stop those hackers, okay? All right, just by a packet comes in with a particular hash, okay? All right, flag that packet, all right, and send it to a depot, okay? Maybe that depot is actually going to go through and open it up and do a deep packet inspection, all right? Maybe your next generation firewall is able to learn about these things and create policies and rules to block that hash for all the traffic that comes in the future. All right? And our knowledge about routing protocol doesn't need to go deeper. All right, routing protocol, whatever protocol we're talking about. Okay, so what my point is, the level of things that I'm teaching you, some we're going to go in deeper, some we are not. Okay, it is your job to take it as deep as possible. Okay, I am just a starting conduit that winds up your little toy so I can just take a couple more steps or bang on the drums as the monkey does. Okay, just a couple more minutes, all right, to give you a little push in a direction so you can actually create your own energy to take the next drum rolls or steps towards your destination. Okay, so don't forget that. All right, so you can tear my videos apart by sitting there and saying, well, hell, Kyle never taught us how to do, the real network statement in the IGRP, which would be the interface, by the way. Okay, that's normally how you would do it in production. But I'm saying if you use the other methods that I taught you, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. There's no right or wrong way of doing things. I'm just saying that you will find out as you are working in your career what the normal standards of doing things could be over a period of time. Okay? All right? Now, instead of wasting that energy to talk about how Kyle doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, spend that energy on learning your own shit. Okay? Which is questioning everything that I teach you and everything that you read in documentation and build your own labs. All right? With that being said, be strong, be determined, be Cisco.